Crossed arms do not mean somebody is closed off. Crossed arms usually mean the room is cold, or the chair has no armrests, or that is simply where the arms go when a person is standing up holding nothing. That is the whole problem with reading people. Somewhere along the way we were sold a dictionary that does not exist. Touching your nose means lying. Looking up and to the left means lying. Feet pointing at the door means they want to leave. Mirroring someone's posture makes them trust you. It is a lovely idea, a one-to-one code where every gesture has a fixed meaning, and it is nonsense, and worse than nonsense, because it makes people confident about things they have got completely wrong. You have probably also heard that most communication is body language, some enormous share of it. That claim comes from a small, narrow experiment about how people judge the feeling behind single spoken words, and it was never meant to be a rule for life. The truth is duller and far more useful. Body language does not tell you what somebody is thinking. It tells you that something just changed in them. It is a smoke alarm, not a transcript. Which brings us to the only piece of advice from this video that you actually need to keep. Watch for change, not posture. Say that back to yourself later today. Watch for change, not posture. Everything else is decoration. Start with baselines, because this is what people skip. Every person you know has a resting state, and it is weird, and it is theirs. Think of Priya in your team, who fidgets constantly, spins her pen, jiggles a foot, reorganizes her water bottle, all day, every day, in every meeting, including the good ones. If you learned the dictionary version of body language, you would read Priya as anxious and evasive from the moment you met her. She is neither. That is just her engine idling. So the fidgeting tells you nothing. What tells you something is the Tuesday she goes completely still. Pen down, hands flat. That stillness would be meaningless in somebody else. But in Priya, it is a flare going up over a hill. Something in the last 30 seconds mattered. You do not know what it was, and you do not know whether it was good or bad. You know only that it landed. The usable sentence here is one you say to yourself, not out loud. What is different about this person right now compared to 5 minutes ago? That question is worth more than every gesture chart on the internet, because it forces you to compare somebody to themselves instead of to a stranger in a diagram. Watch for change, not posture. The second thing is clusters and timing. One signal on its own is noise. A person crosses their legs. A person scratches their neck. That is a human being existing in a body, nothing more. But three things arriving at the same moment, in the same beat, is a sentence. And the timing relative to the words is the loudest part of all. Picture this. You are at your friend Marcus's flat. It is getting late. You say, I could stay for one more. And he says, yes, absolutely, stay. But his hand goes to his phone. He glances at the kitchen where the plates are stacked, and the yes arrives half a beat too fast and half a note too bright. No single one of those means anything. Together, in that 1 second, they mean he is being polite. And a delayed smile is the classic version of the same thing. Genuine warmth tends to arrive with the words or slightly before them. A smile that shows up a beat after the compliment has been assembled rather than felt. You do not need a manual to notice that. You have always noticed it. What you have not done is trusted it. But trust it as a question, not as a verdict, which is the third thing and the most important one. Here is the trap. The better you get at noticing, the more tempted you are to play detective. You spot the change, you decide what it means, and then you act on your interpretation without ever checking it. This is how people end up confidently wrong about their own partner for a decade. He went quiet, so he must be angry with me. Actually, he was thinking about a work email. She looked away when I mentioned Christmas, so she must not want to come. Actually, she was doing the maths on train tickets. Body language is genuinely good at telling you that something moved. It is genuinely terrible at telling you what. So convert the observation into a question, out loud, and describe only what you saw, not what you concluded. You went quiet just then. What is going through your head? That is the whole move. Notice, then ask. Never notice, then decide. And say what you saw, not what you decided it meant. You look upset is a diagnosis, and people push back on diagnoses because you have just told them what is happening inside them, which nobody enjoys. You went quiet just then is a fact, and facts are easy to answer honestly. The first one starts an argument about whether they are upset. The second one gets you an actual answer. There is a version of this for work too. Your manager's face does something small when you mention the client budget, and the meeting moves on. Do not spend a week building a theory about it. Catch it later, in the corridor or in a message. When I brought up the budget, you paused. Is there something going on there I should know about? Half the time there is nothing, and you look attentive. The other half you find out about the thing everybody else finds out about in 6 weeks. So let me pull this together. There is no dictionary. Arms, feet, eye direction, the nose scratch. All of it is folklore, and confident folklore is how you end up wrong. What is real is much simpler. Learn what a person looks like on an ordinary day, and pay attention when today stops looking like that. Watch for change, not posture. Treat a single signal as noise and a cluster of signals landing in the same instant as something worth noticing. Trust timing, because a response that arrives too late or too fast is telling you it went through a process on the way out. And then, always, turn what you noticed into a question, phrased as the plain thing you observed. You went quiet just then. What is going through your head? One last thought, and it is the reason any of this matters. Reading people well is not a way of getting the upper hand. It is not a poker skill. Done properly, it is close to the opposite. It is noticing, earlier than most people would, that somebody near you has just gone somewhere in their head, and then giving them a small, easy opening to come back and say so. That is it. That is the whole gift. Try it once today, with one person you see regularly, so you already know they're ordinary. Watch for change, not posture. And when you catch the change, do not solve it. Just ask. See you in the next scribble.